What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. And are you okay? Really? That is sort of the message of the day, because today, September 9th, is Are You Okay Day. So, Are You Okay Day is supposed to inspire and empower everyone to meaningfully connect with, and I am reading this off the official site, meaningfully connect with the people around them and start a conversation with those in their world who may be struggling with life. You don't need to be an expert to reach out, just a good friend and a great listener. There are 4 very easy steps to sort of have this conversation, and it's kind of important that you follow these, because they're all equally as important. So obviously the first one, sort of the name of the day, is you ask, are you okay? And if they say, yeah, I'm fine, it's important not to push the question. You might want to follow up one more time with like, no, like, really, are you okay? Like, I'm here to listen. But if they sort of insist that second time, don't continue pushing until they just, lash out at you and tell you that, well, actually, no, I'm not, because you're trying to find an issue where there isn't one. Don't do that. But yeah, just sort of check in, see how they're going. If they say they're fine, leave it. But if they say they're not, progress to step 2, which is simply just to listen. It's a very simple step when you write it down, but it does mean you have to, my sort of anxiety is acting up a little bit at the moment, so I'm not fully, but the idea is that you not fidget sort of in your lap or on your knees or on the table or whatever, don't fidget too much. Have that eye contact, and don't speak unless you're sort of prompted to, because the last thing you want is for the person you're asking that question of to start launching into this whole, I've got this and this and this and this weighing me down, only for you to just sort of be like, because it doesn't really make them feel like you actually care about their, so you need to listen. I think that step should actually be actively listen, and like, when you do sort of feel prompted to speak back, make sure that you are referencing sort of the key issues that they're presenting you with. So if it's a case of, let's use parents during this lockdown, this stay-at-home order at the moment, it might just be like, yeah, no, we've just been locked in with the kids for the last 3 weeks and they're driving me insane. Using the main part of, children being children, try to empathize with that if you can't sympathize. Obviously, if you can sympathize, always better. But if you can empathize, try and empathize with that. And then sort of try and ask, what exactly is it they're doing. There's a good little exercise that you have to be very careful with in this situation though, called the 5 whys, and you can really, if you're careful enough with it, you can actually get them to get like right down to the source of what it is that's actually annoying them, and it just having the kids being children during a lockdown. That sort of set it off. So that's always a handy tool to have as well. Knowing things like grounding techniques as well for people because anxiety can be a huge thing. So doing the 5 things you can see, 4 things you can touch, 3 things you can hear, 2 things you can smell, 1 thing you can taste, sort of thing, to help sort of, bring them back is one way that you can ground them. There's a whole bunch of other grounding techniques, but just sort of having these sorts of things in your little self-care toolkit can actually help make this go a long way in helping. The third step is to encourage action. So it might be, the kids just getting bored, and that's why they're running around, destroying the house. So you might suggest, okay, we'll turn that destruction into playful construction. Maybe you want to build, maybe they're terrorizing the lounge room. Alright, take your 2 armchairs, turn them back to back, put a blanket over the top, and maybe, watch a picnic in a pillow fort. As an idea for my example. Obviously, it's not going to work with everybody for every situation. But then again, who doesn't love a pillow fort? Really? So that's one option that you might have available to you. Or if they've got backyard space, encourage them to, and I get that not everyone can do this for my example, but for instance, if you're working from home, but if you're able to, using say your lunch break to go outside and play with them outside so they can still burn off that childlike energy, could be another thing you might suggest, for instance, and that way they're actually able to sort of regain some control of the thing that's sort of not making them feel so okay. And then the 4th one is actually the most important, and that is to check in. Once you've finished having that initial conversation, you've asked, are you okay? You've listened to their issues, and you've replied with empathy and encouraged them to take some action on a way that you might think could help. Like giving them an idea, sort of thing that they can then sort of play with and be like, okay, well, that exact idea might not work, but something similar will. A day, 2 days, a week, whatever, later, check back in with that friend, see how it's gone. Have they taken some of your ideas and put them into practice? Have they worked? Have they not? Did some of them work, some of them not? And have they sort of found a way around whatever it is that's troubling them? That's really, really kind of important. Now, the theme for this year is, are they really okay? And so the little article that they've got for it reads like so. Do you know how the people in your world are really going? Life's up and downs happen to all of us, so chances are someone you know might be struggling. Your genuine support can make a difference with whatever they are facing, big or small. Now, I take issue with them adding the big or small because it actually comes after a comma, which could just be a full stop. And the reason I say that is, as I'm sure you may have noticed, I wasn't referring to problems being a big problem or a small problem. I was referring to their weight and how much they weigh the person down. Because that's really what we should be focusing on, is not how much of a problem we think it is as far as size is concerned, because for one person it might just be that the kids are going a little stir crazy in their lockdown cabin fever, and someone else that you know might have just dealt with a death in the family. And the last thing we want is to try and make person A feel bad for being weighed down by a couple of stir crazy kids by letting them know that person B has just had a significant death in the family. We don't want to belittle someone else's issues by bringing up someone else's. It's the last thing we want. And if person A didn't already know from person B directly, it's not really your thing to tell anyway. So you want to really just look at an issue. How is it affecting that person? And that's what you focus on, rather than being like, a couple of kids, that's nothing. Imagine having that and dealing with this and this and this and this. That's a much bigger thing on there, their plate's so much fuller. No, it's not. Plates are the same size, they're just as full as each other, because both are equally as valid a reason for, poor mental health. That's just the way it is. For a organization's event that's supposed to be, checking in about mental health and suicide prevention, to have that in their article, I think, kind of misses their entire point of being. And it's only 3 words. But I personally take issue with it. Anyway, so your genuine support can make a difference whatever they're facing. So don't wait until someone's visibly distressed or in crisis. Make a moment meaningful and ask them how they're going. Are they really okay? Ask them today. Your conversation could change a life. It then goes on to say that they've developed free resources to help you encourage everyone sort of in your community, whether that be at a workplace, in a schooling environment, in just like a general community. Once lockdowns start ending and stuff, it might be in a sports team or some other sort of social club that you have. It might be within your particular religion's services, whether that be at a church, at a mosque, at a synagogue, at a temple, whatever it might be. There's always going to be someone that you know going through something, and some people might be able to handle similar situations better than others, but that doesn't mean that that person isn't also struggling with a completely different thing that other person can handle just fine. So it really is a case-by-case situation, this one. But if you want those resources, I will leave the link below. You can fill out this to get those resources. Like I said, it's free. It then continues. In challenging times, it's more important than ever for all of us to stay connected, and for those who are able, be willing to support those around us. Learn what to say when someone says they're not okay, so you can continue a conversation that could change and potentially save a life. You don't have to be an expert to keep a conversation going when someone says they're not okay. By knowing what to say, you can help someone feel supported and access appropriate help long before they're in crisis, which can make a really positive difference to their life. And then we've got a bunch of links. The first one is obviously to sort of continue learning that script. Obviously, I'm using quotation marks there because we want to adapt it per person we use it with, because not everyone's going to be dealing with the same thing. And again, people might deal with things differently, etc., etc., etc. You can register an event. So hosting an event and bringing people together in person or online is a great way to celebrate Are You OK Day and share the message. Register your events and activities with us, and we'll help by sending you information and links so you can download resources to help make the event a meaningful success. Just like my lights behind me, you could add a splash of yellow. So Are You OK's merchandise can add a splash of yellow and reinforce the power of a conversation in your community and at your event. The idea with it being yellow is that yellow is the color of happiness, and that's ultimately what we would like. If this event, is going to be a overwhelming success, it's going to eventually lead the world to being a happier place with less stress, etc., and less stigma around talking about things when they're not, when they're not so great. So they've got a little shop here where you can shop for t-shirts, wristbands, conversation cards, and a whole bunch of extra. Proceeds from the sale of merchandise support the work that these guys do to start more life-changing conversations. And then we've got a list of partners here. KitKat is a partner. You will see KitKats that actually have the Are You OK thing on it. Maybe buying one for yourself and one for a friend and going around for coffee, or inviting them around for coffee, whichever is easiest for them. You can go and have a cup of coffee, have a break, have a KitKat, ask them how they're going, are they okay, and you may just help make their day just a little bit more bearable than what it would have been. Anytime Fitness is another one of their partners, and I'm really glad that it is part of the reason why I actually chose Anytime as the gym that I go to. The other being, of course, that once I've got my little key fob, I can go to any of their gyms anywhere in the world, any time of day, and still get my workout in. But knowing that they're an Are You OK partner as well, definitely sort of sealed that deal. There's a bunch of other ones if you want to know what they are. They are at the bottom of the page, and that's about it, guys. So I'm gonna leave it there. Obviously, first and foremost, in the comments down below, let me know, are you okay? You don't have to go into too much detail, obviously, it being a comment section, unless you want to, because I am here to listen, and I will not pass judgment. I don't know your life story, so I'm only going to know sort of what you tell me, if you choose to, that is. But I will try my best to try and help as much as I can. Obviously, the links are also going to be in the description as well. The link for Are You OK? As well as our question for myself, which today is number 8, I believe it is. Yes. What excuses do I tell myself and others? Why do I use these excuses, and how are they holding me back? At the moment, I actually have a really clear-cut answer for this one, and it has to do with the lockdown, which is why I brought it up earlier in the video. But due to it, my parents are working from home, which means that they are using the computer that I'm also using to do my studies. So at the moment, I kind of have this excuse of, well, I can't do my studies because they're working from home. I still have the afternoons after they log off, and I still have the weekends, is the honest truth. But then I also have, well, gyms are closed down, so there's no point in me going through all of this trouble if I'm not going to immediately be able to go and, do my in-house training. I don't have this and this to upload, and I've got a bunch to do with my study, and really all it is it's just that without the ability to just sort of go down the street and maybe take a couple of minutes out of the house just so that I can have sort of my own little space for but a brief moment. It's just, I just don't feel motivated, and it's just a procrastination is really what it comes down to. But let me know, what are your excuses as well? What are the things that you're sort of putting off by just coming up with a little excuse? And why do you think you're doing it? As always, that question will be written right at the bottom of the description. But yeah, if you're new here, please hit the subscribe button. Don't forget to hit that notification bell as well if you want to be notified when I upload new videos. If you've enjoyed this one, please give it a big old thumbs up, and until next time guys, keep your head screwed on.